possible. Because every path home deserves someone by your side. Find your lender today with Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
A membership with John Henry's will fast-track you to front-of-the-line service, seasonal tune-ups, and far fewer unexpected moments. That means no breakdowns, no waiting on a call, and no nonsense. It's consistent care that prevents small issues from turning into big bills. Join the Comfort Club and get VIP treatment 365 days a year with 24-hour priority response, member-only discounts, and peace of mind on your home's most expensive systems. Call John Henry's.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating
and electrical.
Gentlemen, are you ready for something beyond the ordinary haircut? At Scissors and Scotch Lincoln, they blend your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. Sink into a comfy chair, unwind with a complimentary drink, and let their master barbers handle the rest. It's not just grooming, it's an experience. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, needing to get cleaned up before family comes to town, or just need a little time to yourself, Scissors and Scotch Lincoln delivers sharp style every time. Book now at Scissors and Scotch in Lincoln, just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road. When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall, they go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Hey, this is Jay Foreman, the host of Old School, 3 to 6 p.m. here at 93.7 The Ticket. And one of my favorite things to do is come down and meet all the fans before and after as they cheer on our beloved Huskers.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks. Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
At Raising Cane's, we focus on making the most craveable chicken finger meals, getting them right every time. That's why we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, salt every fry, squeeze every lemon, and brew every ounce. We do this inside every Raising Cane's, every day. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines. Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at lincolnairport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's that time of the week. Nick Whyman, Tristan Gomes here, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. It's the Husker Diamond Report, 11 o'clock to noon Central Time, right here, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or on ALLO Channel 961, if you want to be part of the show, Starter Heyman Jewelers text line, 402-464-5685. Tristan, last week we tried not to match wearing, the new ticket jackets, and you got the white jacket on today, so we're matching now. So that only lasted 1 week. It did not last long, but that's fine. Not the same jacket, and it's fine. It is what it is. It just looks like, we're twinning here, but it's what it is. Tristan, how are you doing? Obviously, Nebraska baseball played a midweek game and then make the trip out to the Pacific Northwest. Your stomping ground at the collegiate level, in a sense, a little bit, playing with Portland for a couple of years. But I mean, how you doing? I mean, obviously the weather's a little dreary. It's a little colder than I anticipated it being, but yeah, how you doing on this Saturday?
Doing well. Yeah, the weather here this morning looked a little bit like it did last night up in Eugene. Up there while the Huskers are playing at Oregon. And then, 2 games in a row that Nebraska's lost, first time since Auburn. And I think this team, in both games, they played well. There was just a few little hiccups that kind of set them back. But I think after last night's game, it seemed like it was a game that both teams got a little chippy, or just, there was some conversation going on. And I think that's one of the fun things about college baseball is when you have a game on Friday night where there's just a lot of passion. I don't think it's a huge, ego thing or anything like that. It's just there's a lot of passion and you want to go out and beat whoever you're playing, especially when you're playing another ranked opponent. And yeah, last night was one of those games that got a little chippy and Nebraska showed some fight. And I mean, we'll dive deeper into it, but yeah, what a game. And unfortunately, Nebraska didn't come out on top, but I feel like going into today and then especially into Sunday, this is a series that Nebraska should still feel pretty confident in.
Chippy is a good way to describe the past couple of weeks for Nebraska. Obviously, the Kansas game against Will Bolt gets tossed late in that one. Obviously, he was kind of, arguing balls and strikes, no matter how you look at it. No ABS in college baseball yet. I mean, maybe one day. That game happens, lose to Kansas. And that we mentioned, that was a game that Kansas needed to win. They were, we talked about it Monday in our little Monday special that Kansas sit on the bubble and they needed a win over a quality opponent. And they did. They brought in Bodie Ray, one of their top relievers who pitches the weekends usually. Brought him in kind of as a Royals fan, kind of reminded me of Masson Bumgarner coming out of the bullpen in the 2014 World Series, bringing him in to shut down and get a win. Kansas does that, escapes with the win in that one. Nebraska then plays tomorrow in a very, like you said, chippy, tensions kind of game. Like, I mean, both teams are ranked. Both teams, they were probably had this series circled on their calendar for quite some time. And obviously tempers flare throughout. Obviously, Mac Moyer hits a home run. There's a little bit of, chippiness, little discussion. And then, that kind of adds in, there's a rain delay. This game kind of had it all last night, to say the least. Like 6-7, close game, but also you add in all that. You had the tempers flaring a little bit. You had the delay. I mean, it had it all, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think going into this one, this was one of the first series in a while that Nebraska has really traveled to and got into that extended Big Ten travel with these new teams that joined just a few years ago. And yeah, heading to Oregon, a place that can draw a lot of baseball fans, but when the weather's like that, I think we saw for the most part is it wasn't a crazy environment by any means. And then, yeah, you have the, hour and a half rain delay. But prior to that, I mean, Nebraska started out hot. I mean, Dylan Carey singled through the left side to score Mac Moyer to get things going. They go up 1-0, and then Oregon bounces back in the fourth. But until then, Ty Horn looked pretty dominant. And I feel like that's what we've seen out of Ty Horn for the most part so far this season, is he'll start out, get into a little bit of rhythm, and then I'm not sure if it's just when a team sees him through the first time through the order, and then they get a little bit more of a feel out of him, because it just seems in these past few starts, even looking back at against Penn State, is he starts off well, and then slowly it seems like teams just start to really catch on. And it's not just he had 4 walks yesterday, which has kind of been an issue. I feel like he's trying to get to a point where he has that put away stuff where he can get deeper in accounts and then he can really get that swing and miss. And when you're playing a top opponent, a team like Oregon that is just very disciplined at the plate, you really can't miss because they're not going to swing. They're not going to chase very much. And then, he only gave up 3 hits, but it seemed like they were just ones that he left over the plate just a little bit. He seemed a little miss or middle yesterday once it got to that 4th inning. And that's when Oregon started to take control. And then that's the issue with college baseball, is when you get to the bullpen, you have no clue how things are going to go. Tucker Timmerman, a guy who pitched last week and was unbelievable for 3 innings against Penn State, struggled a little bit yesterday. And so it was just a game where on the pitching side of things, they just didn't seem super consistent, super confident. And I think that's something going forward today with Carson Yasu, who's been unbelievable, as you just hope to see out of him when you're facing a top tier lineup.
Yeah, Ty Horn, we goes 4 innings, allows 2 runs on 3 hits. Like, that's not a terrible line, but then the walks come back to bite you. You only had 2 strikeouts in this game. So the ball is being put in play constantly. So you weren't able, like you said, put away pitches. He wasn't able to blow the ball past a batter. And Oregon was able to put bat on ball, be able to, put the ball in play and cause some havoc. And obviously when you're walking batters, that obviously is going to come back to bite you if they're going to poke a ball into the outfield. Tucker Timmon, dropped a 2-1 on the season. He pitched, got 4 outs, 1 in the third inning, surrendered 2 runs in that. And then Braxton Stewart as well. He allowed 3 runs across 3 hits and only recorded 2 outs. So, like, the bullpen, sometimes has been nails. We saw that against Creighton. Guys were shut down. But then the last couple of games, the bullpen's been a little shaky, and that's, a little concerning. But that's college baseball. You'll see. LSU lost to Bethune-Cookman this week in a midweek game. That's a terrible loss for the Tigers baseball program, a team that is constantly in Omaha in June. But yeah, Nebraska's bullpen, they got to figure that out, figure out what sticks and what's going to work. Walks are going to hurt you, and that's just kind of detrimental to this team in this game. Obviously, you have one of those innings, get one of those innings back from Ty Horn, maybe, Tucker Timmon or Braxton Stewart, you probably win that game. You get an out and maybe not walk a couple of batters and end up putting yourself in that kind of situation. That's the difference. That's literally an innings, maybe a difference between a win or a loss here against Oregon.
Yeah, and looking back just at Ty Horn's start yesterday, we were always, when our pitching coach would talk to the pitching staff, it was never really talking about strikeouts. There are situations where you are really looking for a strikeout, whether it's bases loaded with no outs or something like that. In those situations, or runner on second and third with 1 out, you really just want to find a way to, get a strikeout. You're throwing your strikeout stuff, trying to get some chase. But for Ty Horn, it seems like, this season he's been kind of in a mix of, trying to have that strikeout stuff or, trying to do that, which gets his pitch count up. But then also there's so often that, pitching coaches really believe in, just throw pitches that are going to force weak contact. And I think that is what a lot of successful pitchers do in college baseball, is they find ways to, go low and away or up and in and just force pitches that go against, and they do the scouting report. They know where the hot zones are in everyone in this Oregon lineup. They know where they are trying to attack. And so if you can just force weak contact, you're going to have a lot of success. And, just seeing, only giving up 3 hits, that wasn't the problem. It's the walks that you combine with the 3 hits. So you're letting guys on base, you're giving them free passes, you're getting deep into counts. And then all it takes is one guy to, poke one into a gap for a double. And there was a lot of guys that were scoring first to home yesterday for Oregon. And it was because they would get on with a walk or a hit batter or something like that. And then the hits are what really start racking it up. So for Ty Horn, he has the stuff that can force weak contact. And so I'm curious if going forward, this is more of a focus on, all right, let's not try so hard to get the swing and miss. The swing and miss will happen every once in a while, but try to just force weak contact and let your defense work. Because we've seen this Husker defense play extremely well. Even last night, 0 errors, while Oregon had 2. And then we talk about it all the time, is getting to the bullpen is huge in college baseball. And if on Friday night you're having 5 guys throw out there on the mound, I know there was a delay, and so you were going to bring in a different pitcher after Tim and no matter what, but you bring a new guy onto the mound, you go 5 pitchers, it just doesn't set you up for the weekend. And so I think going forward for this team to really, make an impact in the Big Ten tournament and then into, regional play, is you need a starter that's going to go a little bit deeper into games.
Yeah, you look at the beginning of the game, Mac Moyer doubles to right center, Dylan Carey singles through the left side to give Nebraska a lead. Oregon, obviously, you mentioned the 3 innings, Ty Horn was nails through him. And then the 4th inning comes around, 2-run double, ends up, hitting the gap. Oregon takes a 2-1 advantage. Moyer comes in, ties the game in the 5th with a home run, and hey, back to square one between, these 2 ranked teams. And this was a game that we've talked about. Everybody here in the States talked about. Nebraska baseball has talked about. This was the start of a very fun stretch of a season. Games tied there. And then Oregon, obviously reclaims the lead with a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 5th inning. And then our 42-minute weather delay across there. Obviously, we talked about it last week. The weather was a little dicey. They moved up first pitch today again as well. We'll see what tomorrow brings. There's a chance for rain every day up there. Yeah. Like, not even Wednesday and Thursday, there's a chance for rain. From your perspective, you played at Portland. There's been, you sign up for it. You see the Seattle Seahawks up there. It rains all the time in that area. What from a player standpoint, you're playing a game and weather delay, lightning delay, whatever you want to call it. What kind of are the steps? What's kind of going through your mind as a player, and then getting back into it? Because sitting around, there's not a whole lot you can do. You can't really warm up. And then you obviously, 30 minutes or 45 minutes, you get to warm up again. And then you kind of got to get back into gameplay. Like, you obviously, let's say we're starting at noon, game, you play an hour, and then you sit around for 2 hours and you're not playing again until like 3:30. I guess what's kind of the mindset from a player, and walk me through what that's like.
Yeah. It definitely happened a lot during my time at Portland. It's funny because I was just on Wednesday, Portland actually played Oregon, defeated Oregon. That's 5 straight for the Pilots, dating back to when I was the last time that we played Oregon, and then beat them 2 times last year, 2 times this year. And we had rain delay against Oregon as well. And in those times, it's very important as a team you want to stay focused. You're like so focused on the game, but you don't want to take all of your mental energy of just thinking, all right, we got to play. Like, we're going to play. We're going to be back at some point. It's almost just, all right, we're going to stay locked in, but also like relax a little bit, because if you're so amped up or you're trying to stay amped up, you have no clue when you're actually going to get back there on the field. And so we would always just be sitting in the dugout and we'd be playing, the name game where you name a player and then whatever their last name starts with, you got to find someone that's, so if I said Bobby Bonita, you could say Barry Bonds or something like that. And so we would literally just play that the entire time and just kind of chat it up, not be super quiet or try to stay super locked in. And then you get the coach coming to tell you like, hey, we're starting up in 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever, and you go, okay, let's lock back in, let's start fresh. And so for Nebraska, I feel like they haven't really dealt with that a whole bunch this year. And for an Oregon team, they've play in this all of the time. And so that's just one of those things that for Nebraska, you have to go, yeah, they've played in this, but we're both playing in this weather right now together. There's no control over it. And then once you got back out there, and that was the inning that it kind of fell apart a little bit for Nebraska's. And that fourth inning, when you're tied 2-2, and then it kind of comes back to bite you. Was that the 3-run inning? Was that right when they came back? So it was in the sixth inning is when they came back, and right away on Stewart, they get a 3 runs, and that's kind of just what slowly put Nebraska away. And so it's just, staying locked in and finding ways to, be focused on the game, but don't be too locked in. And then when you come back to the game, it's just you got to be focused. You got to be locked in. And it seemed like Oregon was a lot more ready to play after that rain delay.
Were you a snacker between games? Because baseball's a game where you can, obviously sunflower seeds. Were you a snacker in between like rain delays?
Yeah, for sure. I could never eat meals like before, after game, like before games. I could never, we would always get like Jersey Mike sandwiches or something.
Okay.
I could never eat, but I was always just like, all right, let me have like a beef stick and like some trail mix or something. And that's like good for me to play on because I didn't want to feel too full. And I was always just like, always had pregame jitters where I just did not want to eat whatsoever. But during that, stay fueled up and stay ready to go, especially on a day like today where there's another chance of rain. It's you go in there, you're locked in, you're thinking about playing, and then you just have to take your, foot off the gas a little bit during that delay. And then as soon as you hear, hey, we're getting back ready to go, we're locked back in again.
Yeah, you're down 7-2 after that 3-run inning, after that delay. Oregon takes complete control after that. Dylan Carey does hit a 2-run home run there to pull Nebraska within striking distance, but error as well. Jet buck singles, under run scores, and all of a sudden, you're kind of hanging around there. But Nebraska in ninth inning, I kind of felt like, hey, maybe you can poke something in there, maybe just steal away this game, like just steal a win, because it wasn't pretty, no, but you could maybe just get the cherry on top, score a couple runs in the ninth inning, maybe steal it away. G. Worley leads off the ninth inning with a base knock, and I remember watching it. I'm like, okay, obviously, you have a chance here. Mm-hmm. You have a very good chance to potentially poke one in there and get it back there. There's a wild pitch in there, advance to pair to second and third, and just could not amount that comeback. And that's just baseball. Obviously we mentioned how, you're not going to win every game, especially against a team like Oregon, who is a very competitive team. There's a reason they're in the top 25 and why this game is circled on a lot of baseball fans' calendars. Like Nebraska baseball lost to Kansas, trying to bounce back, lose that game. And Nebraska hasn't lost back-to-back games in a long time. It's been since that Auburn game. And then they went on a huge win streak. Obviously, lose one game to Michigan, bounce back from there. So Nebraska has been in this situation before where you lose to a team on the road and then you have a game the next day. So I think, obviously you lose 2 straight games, deflating, and there obviously is some tensions and a little bit of, this could have happened or that could have happened. But I think you just put it behind and you move on because you're still in a very good situation. You win today, then you can go for the series win tomorrow, and then the schedule ahead, plays out very favorable with Creighton and USC knocking on the door as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think going into this one today, you have Carson Yassa on the mound, who is a guy that has just been nails for you all season long, and he's gone deeper into games, so you're not going to hopefully rely on the bullpen too much. And if Carson Yassa has his best stuff going against any opponent, I'm very confident in him because he does have the strikeout stuff. And even when he's not striking guys out, he's getting that, he's forcing that weak contact, letting his defense do the work. And Oregon's field is in pristine. It's turf. It's some of the nicest turf that I've ever played on. It's soft. It's a really good playing surface as a defender. And so even yesterday, there was a ball hit in the gap that on that turf, it's just going to roll. Like if you hit a ground ball into the gap, like it's just going to roll away to the fence. And McNamara didn't take the best route on it. So he, try to cut it off. It rolls all the way to the wall. Oregon ends up scoring from first to home on that one. And so I think it's just getting used to the field. And then, you saw the lineup yesterday. You out hit Oregon. The, downfall of yesterday was the 16 strikeouts, which is, what we have not seen out of this Husker offense this season. Is they've been finding ways to put the ball in play. And Will Sanford for Oregon yesterday, he was unbelievable. I mean, he pitched really well. He gave up that early run in the first inning and then the home run to Moyer. But then after that, he goes through pretty confidently. And so I think it's just finding a way from the get-go. When Nebraska starts out hot and you have Carson Yass on the mound to give him a little bit of a cushion, this is a team that's really hard to beat. And I feel like this season we haven't seen Nebraska get out to a solid lead and then really see it fall apart by any means. And so I think today it's about, Carson Yass settling in early against this tough lineup, and then the offense finding a way to just put ball in play.
Well, Will Sanford entering yesterday was 4-1 with a 2.54 ERA. I mean, that's incredible. He looked like a sub-3 ERA kind of guy. The pitching matchup for today obviously moved. The original 4 o'clock Central Time first pitch moved up to 2 o'clock because of weather in the area. They tried to do that yesterday, and that clearly did not work with an almost 2-hour rain delay. But you have Carson Yassa. He is 6-1 with a 3.64 ERA. Going up against right-handed pitcher Colin Clark. He's 5-2 with another sub-3 ERA with a 2.72 on the mound there too. So, and you look to even to tomorrow, you have Cooper Katsky, who's 5-0. He's been really good in that Sunday role, 2.79 for him, and then Cal Cascarali with a 4-0 and a 2.81. So you have sub-3 ERAs on the side for Oregon. You have the next two guys. I mean, obviously Ty Horn's been roughed up the last couple of weeks. Walks have come back to bite him. Obviously, he had to wait a day as well with the Penn State series. But opportunity's still there. Interesting fact about this one, first top 25 Big Ten series since 2015 for Nebraska.
Wow.
They haven't had a, you think like maybe they'd run into like a Michigan when they were in their prime, or, when they made the College World Series a couple of years ago. I say a couple when it was like, late 2010s. But this weekend series, Oregon 21, Nebraska 19. First Big Ten series between two ranked teams since 2015. That was Nebraska was ranked 18th at the time. They visited number 17 Maryland for a 3-game series where the Terrapins swept Nebraska in College Park. That was when, funny enough, that was when Jake Eisenberg, I believe, was still around. I had him on Late 9 Lincoln. He was doing the radio call for the Terrapins in Maryland's radio there during that. So that's a very ironic crossover there. But now he's with the Kansas City Royals doing play-by-play there. But he's a Nebraskan at heart. Yeah. He spent time here. He's the Omaha and all that. But interesting that no Big Ten team like Nebraska has never ran into another Big Ten team ranked since 11 years ago. It's crazy that I thought they'd run to a Michigan, or maybe there was a team who snuck in at 25. Like there was a couple of years Iowa had some really good pitchers across the board. Maybe they snuck in the rankings. Nope, not really. But yeah, tomorrow Carson Yassa, I think he's the interesting storyline. Like we didn't really know like what Nebraska was going to get out of him entering the year. It was kind of a question mark who that number 2 was going to be. And he's flourished. I mean, he's got 6 wins to his credit while starting, and continues to pound the zone. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Just keep throwing strikes. So obviously you have Ty Horn, who's struggling to put away batters. And now you're facing Oregon's facing a guy who's going to be throwing strikes and pounding the zone. So I'm curious how Oregon's going to attack him with a completely different kind of mantra for a pitcher out there.
Yeah, I liked how you touched on how this is, the first ranked matchup for Nebraska in quite a while. And we talked about it last week, and it is, as much as it is interesting having all these West Coast schools in the Big Ten now with UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington, it does give Nebraska an opportunity to go ahead and win some big games, win some ranked games. And even after the loss last night, like Nebraska is still in an opportunity to host a regional. You will come out, 2 out of 3 on the road against another top tier Big Ten opponent, another ranked team. The committee and people are going to see that. And, people across the country are going to notice that this Nebraska team is legit. They can win tough ball games on the road. And so I think, having that conference, change and being able to play ranked opponents is what Nebraska needs if they really want to make a run at hosting a regional. And then, yeah, you said it best. Carson Yassa, a guy who last year had a limited, I think he had 11 appearances last season, and we're, kind of inconsistent. We would see him go out there and strike out the side easily, or we would see him really struggle to find the zone. And this year, 6-1, 3.64 ERA. He's just been absolutely dominant, and he's been someone that gets on the mound, and as a defense, as a lineup, you just see him on the mound and you have so much confidence, which I believe is huge. And it's nice to have a guy that steps onto the mound, and you just know he's going to be a bulldog for us. He's going to find a way to get out. And as an offense, we just need to put together a few runs. And Colin Clark going for the Ducks today, 5-2, 2.72 ERA. So it's going to be a good matchup on the mound. It's just going to be which lineups are going to stay the most disciplined, possibly draw a few walks, but then also just put some hits together when it's needed. And I think most importantly, it comes down to the 2-out hitting. Quite a few batters left on base for both teams, 8 for Nebraska, 9 for Oregon. And so those are just who's going to be the team that finds ways to get big 2-out RBIs.
Looking at the, Carson Yasa, I have the stats, the year-over-year stats for Carson Yasa. So obviously this year, 6-1, 3.64 ERA, 8 starts in the 8 games he's pitched in, 1 complete game. Last year, limited role, started 4 games, 11 appearances, 2-2 record, 8.68 ERA. So I mean, quite the stats difference. That was in only 18 2/3 innings. This year, already over 42. So he's doubled his innings. ERA's already cut, 60% of that ERA is down. He's obviously less appearances, so things are going right for him so far. But yeah, Nebraska baseball, that game starting at 2:00 today against Oregon, game 2 of a 3-game set. But Nebraska baseball is such an interesting schedule going forward. We can touch on it to close the show as well. They have the Oregon games today. You get the Creighton rematch where the Blue Jays are going to be out for revenge, lose that in-state rivalry at their place. Now they're coming to Hawks Field at Hamburger Park on Tuesday. And then you gear up for USC, who's been a solid team. The Trojans are having a really solid program this year, one of the best starts they've had in program history. You get them in there. And then, obviously, April 21st, rematch in Lawrence against the Kansas Jayhawks. So schedule's fun. I think this is kind of the meat of the Big Ten schedule, just because you have the Oregon and USC games on the back burner, plus the Creighton mixed in there, and then Kansas. So I'm really excited for this next stretch, Kristen.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it, and we can touch on it as we get into that last segment. I think this is really what we're going to see out of this Nebraska team. And honestly, if it doesn't go exactly how Nebraska does, this is going to be an opportunity where they can learn a lot about themselves as a team and figure out what they need to work at, get better at. So when it does come to Big Ten tournament play, when it does come to regional play, they know exactly where they need to grow, where they need to rise a little bit. And so, yeah, this is exactly what you want is, in the middle of your season, you're playing tough opponents and you have to find ways to win. And then, yeah, on the other side, we'll talk about, Husker softball, just another dominant win on the road. Alexis Jensen was unbelievable. We'll touch on that more on the other side.
Yeah, the 5-0 win yesterday against the Wisconsin Badger. We'll talk about it after this break. 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. Husker Diamond Report. We'll be right back after this break.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake. Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
At Schwezo Construction, safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Build with us. Work safe, go home proud. We're hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back, on and off the job site. If you're ready to be part of a company where your safety and success come first, visit Schwezo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com and apply today. Schwezo Construction, 40 years strong and still building the future.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
At DWE Generations, having a plan matters, especially when it comes to protecting what's most important. They work with individuals, families, and business owners to help make smart financial decisions that support life today and set the foundation for generations. David Darlington, Russell Walton, and Cody Eiler bring decades of experience, and their dedicated team provides follow-through, answering questions, explaining next steps, and staying connected as life evolves. DWE Generations, a generational wealth planning firm. DWE Generations is a marketing name for individuals doing business as representatives of Northwestern Mutual. Visit generations.nm.com or call 402-483-7871 and ask for David, Russell, or Cody. MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
When it comes to keeping your equipment running, you've got options at Landmark Implement. Whether you need premium John Deere parts or a more economical solution, A&I parts from Landmark deliver the dependable performance you can count on with cost savings up to 40%. From filters and bearings to belts and everyday repairs, A&I parts are built to work as hard as you do while helping stretch your budget further. Stop by your local Landmark Implement parts counter today or shop online anytime at shop.deere.com and experience the Landmark difference.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, Husker Diamond Report, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Nick Whyman holding down alongside Tristan Gomes here. Always Husker Diamond Report from 11 a.m. to noon Central Time in the heart of Lincoln. Just got done talking about Nebraska baseball, setting the stage for Game 2 of the 3-game set in Eugene against the Oregon Ducks. A top 25 matchup, the first one for Nebraska baseball in conference play since 2015, a long time. I was in high school at that point. I probably don't recollect that, but it is, I think maybe, I remember Nebraska playing in the Big Ten tournament when Kyle Schwarber was playing for Indiana. And he was a Husker killer. He did that all. He was raking then. He's still raking now with the Phillies, but we're here in 2026 now. But you know who else is raking? Nebraska softball. They keep on winning. 31-6 now overall in the season, still in the top 10, and just continue to handle business home or on the road. They played up in Madison against the Wisconsin Badgers yesterday in front of under 500 fans, according to the attendance of this one. Nebraska winning 5-0 in this one. I mean, rinse and repeat for Nebraska softball. Just continue to win games. Obviously, the first innings, it was pretty tight. No runs in the first 2 innings. Then Nebraska tacks on 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and then a couple in the sixth, and then another 1 in the seventh. Wisconsin barely getting on base, only 2 hits throughout. And Alexis Jensen, 16th win of the season for her so far, only 2 losses, and she just continues to throw strikes, 10 strikeouts once again. 10th shutout for Nebraska softball this year too. So, 31 wins and 10 of those have come in shutouts. So, Tristan, thoughts on this one in general, just because, rinse and repeat for Nebraska softball. And that's what people want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. They do it in different facets, and we'll get to Alexis Jensen because she was unbelievable once again. But just looking at the ways that Nebraska scored in this one early, they open up the scoring with Bland with a walk, and then she could get her to second with a sacrifice bunt, and then Jordy Fromm with another triple. She has 5 on the season, which is unbelievable. I feel like triples in softball have to be really hard to come by.
Well, she had two last weekend.
Yeah,
Rutgers.
Yeah, 2 last weekend and 1 game, and that tied the record for triples in a game because it's just so impressive. And so they get the scoring that way. And then Jessie Farrell, who seemed to have kind of slowed down. Starting out, she was hitting over 400 for quite a bit during the preseason or non-conference, and then to the conference slowed down a little bit. But she's still hitting over 300. She has a solo home run yesterday to extend it to 2-0. And, throughout this game, it just seemed like Nebraska was in full control. It was one of those games that was kind of just slow, not super high scoring, not super quick, but they were just in control the entire time. And, they end up with 7 hits. They draw a few walks, 4 walks, while Alexis Jensen on the other end, which I'll let you start out talking about her because she's unbelievable. Just gives up 2 hits, another shutout for her, 16-2 on the season.
Yeah, you mentioned Samantha Bland and those players too. They've been very, key contributors. Like Samantha Bland, obviously the stats aren't going to jump off the page, but she gets on base and lets her teammates pick up for her. So, but Alexis Jensen, held the Badgers offense in check throughout. And Wisconsin, coming in, they were averaging around 6 runs per game, near, little, 6.1 to be exact. So, and they allowed only no runs, but also only 2 hits. Wisconsin 0 of 7 with runners in scoring position. Jensen just, dominating. Tossed her 4th complete game of the year, 10 strikeouts. The stats just jump off the page. When you look at, Alexis Jensen and Jordy Fromm stats identically, just how many strikeouts they have together versus walks. You just pick and plug one or the other. And then Kamenzin's coming in too. Hannah Kamenzin's been in there too. Nebraska just has depth at pitching, and I don't think a lot of teams have that. And Alexis Jensen, I was talking to Todd Euler about it a little bit earlier on the Power Hour from 10 to 11. I said, Alexis Jensen, if you looked at her, I would be like, all right, she's probably played 3 or 4 years of college softball. The way she handles herself in the circle, how she's able to, obviously somebody gets a hit, a double, and you're able to just easily forget about it and move on from it. She was playing high school softball a year and a half ago, just down the road in Gretna over in the Omaha Metro. She was winning state titles with a very stacked team, which they were a Class B school because they recently moved down to Class B, but their softball program opted up to Class A because they were winning so much because they want to be fair. Because they want to play the best, which kudos to them. But she just handles herself so well in the circle because some people, get rattled. And Alexis Jensen, same poise, works fast, throws strikes. You'd think maybe she's played 2 or 3 years of college softball. No, she's only appeared in a handful of games. And this is just a freshman year, Alexis Jensen. I can't imagine, get a couple of years under her belt. She might be a top pitcher in college softball in a couple of years.
Yeah, I would not be surprised whatsoever. We touched on 16-2 on the season. And I think going into this one, Jordy Fromm comes back. And I think, people knew how good Alexis Jensen was in high school and how she's a big time recruit. But you've had Jordy Fromm, who has just been one of the best pitchers in the country for quite a few years now. And Alexis Jensen comes in, and it's just it's a two-headed monster that, this pitching staff is, whoever is in the circle. And, we've seen how well that Jordy Fromm has done in the box now as a hitter. I feel like she's been focusing a little bit more on that and still able to come in, has the saves record, single season save record already this far into the season. It's just because she can focus on hitting and absolutely dominate in the box. And then she will end up coming in the game if needed for Alexis Jensen. But there's games like this where Alexis Jensen, she's just going to do it all by herself. And yeah, you talked about how just calm and composed she is. Wisconsin last night was 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. And so when, things are not even hitting the fan, but, runners are putting themselves in positions to score, she just locks in and she gets better. When the going gets tough, she gets tougher. And I think we've seen that all season long, which makes you just feel so much more confident in this Husker softball team is they're going to find a way to do it on the offensive end. They're going to find a way to put together runs no matter how, whether it's a sacrifice bunt and then it's a triple in the gap or it's a solo home run or a 3-run home run. They're going to find ways to defeat teams. And they've been doing it all season long. And then, when you have Alexis Jensen on the mound and teams just cannot get comfortable with her or really put anything together consistently, it's easy to have a lot of confidence in this team, especially, with how good Alexis Jensen has been.
So I have the strikeout to walk numbers for Fromm and Jensen in front of me. So last year, let's just look at that. Jordy Fromm had a 286 strikeouts. She's already at 139. She only has walked 20 batters total. Okay. That's solid. We go to Alexis Jensen here. She's 16-2, as mentioned, a 2.62 ERA. Fromm has a 1.55 ERA, so she barely gives up any runs, and they usually use her as like a pick-and-plug closer role, essentially, for Nebraska, usually when Jensen's in. Jensen's over the 100 innings pitched so far this year. 38 earned runs. A couple of a lot of them come off the long ball, too. 16 home runs, 38 earned runs. 154 strikeouts, 22 walks. So you combine the numbers. They're over 300 strikeouts and only, what is that? My quick math here, like 20 plus 42 walks. It's wild. Obviously they're throwing strikes and just playing that, but then you have to have an offense to back you up. And Nebraska has that across the board. Jessie Farrell, we touched on her a little bit there, where, beginning of the year, she was like, okay, you get a transfer, UNLV commit, ends up transferring to Nebraska, and she was kind of charging the offense in some of those games. Obviously Texas Tech hit a home run in that one. First game of the year, first at bat as a Husker, hits a home run. She gets back and, swinging the bat again. And you like to see that. Top of the sixth inning, Hannah Kamzen walk, Huzek singles to lead off the inning. They both go on, after a ground out, and then all of a sudden Casey Hoffman, obviously 2-run single. She's been swinging a hot bat too. Nebraska leads 4-0 just like that. And, 2 or 3 runs is usually good enough to win a game, like for Jensen or Fromm right now. And you're playing a team like Wisconsin, who is they're not terrible. Like they're one of the more respectable teams left on their schedule. Like it is the Big Ten, so every game is tough, but they're just handling business with teams who are outside the top 25. Usually those top 25 teams, usually those top 10 teams they played earlier in the year were the teams they had trouble with. Now they're just winning and winning. And I don't see, anything but a sweep is disappointing at this rate for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you played the schedule, we touched on, I swear, every single weekend, it's just how tough the schedule was that they played earlier this season. And then you get into Big Ten play, outside of UCLA so far, it seems like they're going in because they expect to sweep. They probably expected to sweep UCLA as well, and they come out with 2 out of 3, which is huge. And then, when you're playing, teams like Wisconsin has been a good team so far this season, and they are, one of the better teams in the, Big Ten. They're in the top half, and, they're 7-6, 22-13 on the season, just not a bad team whatsoever by any means. And Nebraska just came in and they handled business. And so I think they do expect to sweep. And I think when you play the schedule that you do, when you do play these teams, you take care of business and you just expect, all right, we're going to win. We know that we're the better team. And when you have 2 pitchers that you just know you can rely on every single game in and a game out, you have that confidence where I think now we've talked about Nebraska's schedule going forward is they have an opportunity to, this is a little bit of an easy part of their schedule, really just take care of business, continue to find ways to possibly rise up in that rankings, and then, host a regional and find ways to, do some real big damage in the postseason.
Yeah, yesterday was the 10th shutout for the season for Nebraska. Jordy Fromm, talking about the triples, she's now tied 10th on Nebraska's single-season triples chart with 4 so far this year, 2 of them coming in one game. She has a triple in 3 of the last 8 at-bats dating back to Rutgers game. So that's pretty good, I would say so. And you mentioned how hard it is because the wall is obviously shorter at the baseball. The dimensions are shorter. Nebraska improved to 12-1 in Big Ten play with that win last night. Best start through 13 games since 2022 when they started 13-0 that season. 8-1 in true road games. Alexis Jensen, 10 strikeouts, marked her 4th double-digit strikeout ever of the season. They're back at it just in a little bit, playing in Madison against the Badgers. I just expect another dominant win for Nebraska, the way they've been playing. Pick and plug whoever you want in there, handle business. Obviously 5-0. You didn't really blow them out of the water, but you're able to just chip away and just grab momentum. And I think that's huge for this Nebraska softball team because when they start fast, which they have, obviously the Rutgers game, they fall down 2-0 last Sunday, and that didn't rattle them. They come back with 7 in that bottom of the inning. Nebraska's this team just is unfazed, and they play with no fear, I think is the biggest thing with them. And I think going in, down this home stretch this season, just handle business, win games. and then set your sights on the Big Ten tournament. They don't really look like a team that's looking past said opponents as well, because obviously you're going to have a couple of games. You only have 3 more home games as well. So they're kind of the road warriors down the stretch here too. So I'm just curious to see how they do down the stretch. And then the Big Ten tournament should be very exciting because there's still a race right now. Nebraska, UCLA, Washington, all kind of in that, fighting each other to get to that final regular season title. And I'm curious to see how that plays out because Nebraska does have an easier schedule, but that doesn't mean it's locked in.
Yeah, no, not at all. And I think that's the thing too, is, you're taking on Wisconsin, and then it's Minnesota. You got UNO again, who UNO has been one of the best mid-major teams in the country. And that's a game where I think UNO probably has a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. And then, you got Iowa and Penn State, and then you're back in College Park, Maryland for the Big Ten tournament. So just looking at this schedule, it's a lot of games that Nebraska should take care of. And, we're seeing it plenty in, all sports, is teams that are ranked very highly. We talked about LSU losing to Bethune-Cookman earlier this week in baseball. There's just times that you look past opponents, or you kind of undermine them, or you don't, think too highly of them. And that's where you can fall into a trap. And it seems like Nebraska just knows they're not going to stoop down to their opponent's level. They're going to go to every game, play their type of game. And when they do that, they're better than pretty much every single team, if not every single team in the country. And that's what we've seen so far.
Well, we're going to throw it to break. Remember, Husker softball starting up in a little bit against Wisconsin. Baseball starting up at 2 o'clock Central Time against the Oregon Ducks. We'll be on the other side. We'll talk about the schedule looking forward. Husker softball rounding out regular season play at the beginning of May. Baseball in the home stretch of Big Ten play as well. We'll talk about it on the next side. Husker Diamond Report, Nick Whyman, Tristan Gomes. We'll be right back. 92.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Spring is here, and it's time to wake up Judson. Judson Irrigation is eager and ready to get your sprinkler system up and running for the season. Judson's technicians will check for winter damage, adjust your sprinkler heads, and show you how to set your controller for effective sprinkling coverage. The Judson Irrigation team is here for you. Stay safe.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Looking for the right utility tractor for your acreage? Find it at Landmark Implement. Shop our selection of used John Deere compact tractors from 1 through 5 series with the power and versatility to track mowing, yard work, snow removal, and more. For a limited time, get 2.9% financing for 36 months, followed by 6.2 for 24 months with approved credit. We've got the right fit for your property and your budget. Stop by your local Landmark Implement or visit us online at landmarkimp.com today and experience the Landmark difference.
Seems like just the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
We hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Tune in to Outside the Box from 4 to 5 p.m. for everything you need to know about the Lincoln Stars. Join head coach Rocky Russo and play-by-play voice Alex Fern as they sit down with special player guests to tell the story of the Lincoln Stars and give you all the news and notes you need from around the USHL. That's Outside the Box with the Lincoln Stars on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between, we'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
93.7 The Ticket is Lincoln's home for Kansas City Royals baseball in 2026. Catch all the action as Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and a pitching rotation led by Cole Reagans try to lead the Royals back to the postseason. That's Kansas City Royals baseball all summer long. On the air in Lincoln at 93.7 The Ticket.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Husker Diamond Report, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. We just got done recapping Husker baseball, Husker softball, obviously in action again today. Nebraska softball against Wisconsin. Nebraska baseball against Oregon. Pending weather. I don't know the weather forecast completely up in Oregon, but usually it's very dicey, to say the least. So, Tristan, I have some trivia for you.
Yeah.
I brought some trivia. I'm putting you on the spot. I did my homework. I did my research. So for you, this is an individual question. You should know this question.
Okay.
You should know this. So I have the list of teams you have played for in your collegiate, summer ball, and NCAA career.
Okay.
Give me the town and the nickname for each team. Like, insert like the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Okay.
Give me each of them. Can you do them in order?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2021 summer ball.
Okay. We're starting with 2021. Okay. So then that would be the Portland Pickles.
No, you didn't.
Wait.
No. You played 2021. You played the Portland Pickles in 2021, the West Coast League. You were in the Northwoods League, according to Baseball Reference.
Yes. Okay. Well, no, that summer. So I started out playing for the Pickles. I played for the Pickles all June.
Okay.
And then in July and August, I played for the Waterloo Bucks.
Okay. Ding, ding, ding. You got that one then. And then obviously
I was at Cal State Fullerton, Titans.
Okay. 2022.
2022, I was with the Nebraska Prospects.
Yep. The Independence League, which there's other teams in that league as well.
Yeah. There's Western Nebraska Pioneers. They're out in Gehring.
There's one in Grand Island or Kearney area. Isn't there a team out there or something like that?
Yes.
I can't. Colonels? The Colonels or something like that?
No. There's one in Hastings.
Sodbusters.
There we go.
I'm very familiar with this league. So
Yeah.
It's like a lot of the high school guys go out and play there, a lot of Wesleyan, and so yes, the Sodbusters, they play at Duncan Field, right?
Yeah,
Is that the field?
Yeah, that's the field that has the pole like right in the middle.
It's a very historic field or something. It's very hard to hit a home run out of that park.
Yeah, it's brutal, and the wind's always blowing in. It's like 400 all around. Yeah, it's brutal.
All right. So then 2022 spring, which was
that would have been my first year at Portland.
That was Cal
State. I went
2 years there recording this, 2021 and 2022 it says, but that's probably just the years.
Yes, and then because it was the 2022 summer that I played for the Nebraska Prospects.
Yep.
And then University of Portland, go Pilots.
Yep.
And then that summer I played for, was that the Ridgefield Raptors?
Yep, in the West Coast League again, Summer Ball League, and you got them all. I was curious you were able to get all the Summer Ball League teams because those are they're niche.
Yeah,
they're niche. But I was curious, like from your point of view, playing in those Summer Ball, like what did you learn? Because like people, I don't think a lot of people really talk about those Summer Ball leagues. Like a lot of them, obviously, you see the College World Series out, baseball season's over.
Mm-hmm.
What did you get from those leagues, and what were some of your fond memories playing across those? Because there's the Northwoods, there's the West Coast League, and why'd you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the time, like the coaching staff of your school, they wanted you to play Summer Ball. They wanted you to stay fresh and just get more at bats. And I had a love-hate relationship with Summer Ball because you are on the road, it's 10-hour bus rides. Like the Northwoods, the travel in the Northwoods is so brutal. I mean, you're going on 10-hour bus rides. You're going from Waterloo, Iowa, up to Duluth, Minnesota, and then you're going to Madison, Wisconsin. Like it's just brutal. But like it's so fun because there's so many guys I played Summer Ball with that played at so many different schools, had different experiences, and I still have guys like I'll talk to all the time that I played Summer Ball with. Joshua Kasevich, he went to Oregon, and now he's I believe in the Cardinals organization, building his way up. And so like you play with so many guys in Summer Ball that end up getting drafted and having pretty cool careers. And then it was just good to really, it's like perfect time because when you're playing in the spring season, it's really hard to really get into a point where you can really make huge adjustments to your swing, or like you can really make big changes because you're playing so many games. You get to a weekend, if you're struggling on Friday, you can go ahead and you can hit early, but it's got to be a minor tweak because you can't change a whole bunch. In the summer, it's a great time to really figure it out. And I'll be honest, there were a few summers that I hit really bad, but felt super confident.
I can pull up those stats.
No, do not pull up those stats. Like Ridgefield, I think I hit like 200 or something. It was not great, but going into that fall at Portland, I'd never felt more confident because I was like, it was one of those things where my swing took a step back to go 2 steps forward. And so by the end of the summer, I was feeling more confident. And I think Summer Ball is just a great opportunity. And for young players, whether you're, playing Division I or you're playing NAIA, I think Summer Ball is a great opportunity to just work on your game. And there's so many different leagues. And I'm glad I got to travel a little bit. I mean, I got to go to all over Washington, played at some cool places in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and just met some really cool people. So Summer Ball's sweet. And, we've seen some Huskers that have played up in Cape Cod, which I wish I had that kind of talent because that would have been sweet. My best friend, Max Anderson, played in the Cape, absolutely dominated up there, and just a super cool experience. And it's cool to spend so much time with the guys from your school, get an opportunity to play with some new people.
Yeah, I was just curious because Summer Ball, obviously it's
a grind.
It's a grind, but I was curious. It's not for everybody, but it's a story in itself. But we're about to get out of here. Ray Alico, first serve coming up next. Remind you, Nebraska softball starting in a couple of minutes, taking on the Wisconsin Badgers in game 2 of that set in Madison. And then Husker baseball, 2 o'clock Central Time, first pitch between number 19 Nebraska and number 21 Oregon up in Eugene. That game moved up, so 2 o'clock Central Time in that one. And then both teams wrapping up the series tomorrow. So we're going to get out of here. We'll be back later in a little bit. But Ray Alico, first serve live, coming up next, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. We'll be right back.
Rico here with HIS